Welcome back to Impossibly Unremarkable, a podcast hosted by myself, Jonathon Butts, and my longtime friend, co-host, and Moocher Kindle, Elliott Markson.
That is right. Another episode of this beautiful podcast, and we are just two men on a merry-go-round, going round and round and round and round, and getting so dizzy we might throw up. Isn't that right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing
Haven't seen
great.
you in so long.
I know. Just yesterday, I returned from my trip to the Fatherland to Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Tell us all about it. I can't wait to hear every detail, every event that took place, everything that you did and experienced. It seemed amazing based on the pictures you sent me, but I got to hear firsthand.
yeah, I mean it was a great time. I'm going to start from the top.
Okay.
I can't remember. I feel like on last episode I talked about some anxiety about the flight and being worried about not making my connection. Well, that fucking happened. So in Minneapolis, while I was at the gate, we hadn't boarded. It was like 5 or 10 minutes past the time we were supposed to board. And there's like this group of people. They're just people, and they're all conversing with each other and kind of eavesdropping. And one of them's like, oopsie, I think we're going to make the flight late. Because I guess all of them were just trying to fly standby. And so they each individually had to talk with the receptionist. I don't know what to call the person that like does the intake and scans the boarding passes or whatever. But each of them had to go up and make sure they can get on the flight. So that took a while. Then we finally get onto the plane. And we taxi out, and then we just sit at the runway for about 10, 15 minutes. The guy, the pilot's like, sorry, guys, we just got to wait for our turn in line. And I'm like, okay. So it's been about 30 minutes past the time the flight's supposed to take off. And looking at like Google Flights, basically what it's telling me is I'm going to land right before my flight to Germany is supposed to take off in New Jersey. So I'm starting to panic. And then we sit for another 20 minutes, and the pilot's like, all right, sorry, it's just going to be another 5. And then like 5 minutes later, we take off. So it took us probably an hour between time to board and then just sitting on the runway before we actually flew. And so it's like a 2.5 hour flight, and I'm just like nervous the entire fucking time. Because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be stuck in New Jersey of all places. I don't want to deal with trying to, reschedule
Beautiful
something.
New Jersey.
It's literally going to eat an entire day. And so I'm just kind of panicking. And then we finally land. I hurry off the plane. The great thing is, so New Jersey, I think, has 3 terminals. I'm in like Terminal A or Terminal 1 or whatever. And
nice.
My connecting flight is on another terminal, 2 terminals away. And so you know me, I'm not in good shape.
Yeah.
I dare to say. You just said yeah. You just said yeah.
I didn't. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I sprint over to the next gate or your gate in.
I had to sprint over to the shuttle, and then the shuttle took us
to one of those airports where you have to take the shuttle to the next area, and then you have to take a zip line and a train and go spelunking to the next
But the shuttle
gate.
was literally just a bus, and it was slowly driving around like the airport. And so
that's wild.
5 minutes, I think we're like 5 minutes away from the Terminal C.
Yeah.
And I get a call, and it's someone from the airline saying, hey, you have 6 minutes to get here, otherwise we're leaving. And I'm like, I'm on the shuttle. And they're like, what shuttle? I'm like, the one from this terminal to that terminal. They're like, yeah, you got to be on time for these kinds of things. I'm like, my flight was fucking delayed an hour. What do you want me to do about it? And they're like, yeah, that'll do it. And I'm like, okay. So I'll be right there. Doesn't
this happen all the time? Like, what are they talking about?
And I'm pretty sure they have to have some record of passengers on the plane and who's coming off of a connection, but whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm starting to panic. There's a dude on the shuttle with me who is an actual German man that was on the same Minneapolis flight, and he's like, what the hell? And so then we finally get to the door for the terminal, and the bus driver stops and just like just doesn't move, just doesn't say anything. The door remains closed, and we're like, hey, can you let us off? And she's like, it's not safe.
What?
I'm like, what?
Why wasn't it safe to get off the bus?
And I'm like, I have no idea. And then so she pulled forward an extra foot after just sitting there for like a minute, and then let us out. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
And so this terminal has like 35 gates or whatever. Of course,
Sure.
my flight was on gate like C35 or whatever. So I sprint again and I get to the gate and it says boarding has ended. Doors closed.
Ooh.
And I literally I'm like, God damn it. You know, like I'm out of shape. I'm wheezing. I'm an asthmatic person. So it was very uncomfortable and miserable.
I just picture you just like sweating and breathing heavy and then just kind of just being like, fuck.
I literally was like sweating. I was hot as shit. And so I go up to the guy at the counter and I'm like, is there any chance I can get onto this? And like, no. Well, what's your name? And I told him my name, my details. He's like, yeah, we gave away your seat. And I'm like, what? He's like, well, we didn't know that you weren't going to be here on time. I'm like, someone literally called me. Why would you call me?
Yeah, what the hell?
If you weren't going to do it,
they gave away your seat that fast?
I know. Like,
it happens that quickly. If you're not there within 5 minutes of the gate closing, your seat's gone.
Like, what's the point in
the hell
calling me if you're not going to do anything with that information? You know?
Yeah. Here, call this guy. Then give his seat away right after.
He'll be here in 5 minutes. All right, let's sell his seat. And I paid like $40 or $50 extra just for the seat that I chose because I wanted a window seat because I wanted to see shit.
You mentioned the window seat. Yeah.
And then so he like fiddles around for a couple minutes, and I mean the guy was a nice guy. He ended up getting me on the flight, thankfully. My seat got pushed back like 10 rows, which I didn't care. Like I got onto the plane. Everyone's staring at me because of course I'm the dude that, you know, made them wait, you know, an extra 5 minutes or whatever. And then I'm like, I felt embarrassed because I was like,
it's crazy.
Sweat just like running down my face.
You just look like a complete mess just coming on this plane. Everyone on the plane hates you because you made them wait an extra 35 minutes or whatever to take off.
Yeah, it was I reached a point where I was like, you know, I sat down, put my luggage up. I'm like,
yeah.
Thank God.
Right.
Because I was
got
terrified.
on the plane. That's all you needed to do was get on the plane. And you did it.
I kind of laughed. I'm like, you know what? I told myself that everything was going to be okay at a certain point, and then it worked out. But that was my first time on a big plane, which is fun. Have you ever been on a big plane?
I have been on a big plane. I love big planes. There's lots of space. You can get up and walk around. You don't feel as bad when you're just like taking a lap or something. I don't know. I love big planes.
Because I've never pissed on a plane before.
What? You never pissed on a plane?
I just love the window seat.
You hold it every time?
I love the window seat too much, and so I don't want to bother, you know, like two other people to get out of my way.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting an aisle seat, and there was no one in the middle seat, and then just a girl slumped over on the window seat, like for 9 hours straight.
That is my dream scenario on an airplane. I have the aisle seat, the middle seat is vacant, and the next person is conked out and will not talk to me. That is my dream scenario on a plane. You were living the dream once you got on there.
Yeah, man, it was a very ideal setup. It was like a 7.5 hour flight. I didn't eat anything, of course, because like I didn't get to pee. I had to pee on the plane, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
There's something really disorienting about like peeing and then hearing like the loudest suction vacuum sound as it like
it's just sucking it out and
just scary. But
where does that go?
I'm assuming it goes into like a collection tank.
Nah, man, they just drop it below the plane. It just falls.
It just falls. People get covered in piss and shit.
Yeah, you don't know.
But dude, they served, and it like obviously not as good as like a real Indian place, but they served butter chicken, and I was actually really impressed by the dinner because I assumed I wasn't going to get anything, but I got that.
Yeah, they feed you.
And then I landed like 9 a.m. I went through customs, and the Germans were like talking shit about me. Like the ladies, like,
how do you know they were talking shit about you?
Well, the lady who's like processing my forms was like looking at me and like talking to a coworker. And keep in mind, like I don't understand German. I know a couple words, couple phrases, and I picked some up while I was there. But she's like talking, pointing at me, like, you know, gesturing aggressively.
Just making these like just awful gestures towards
like,
you. Just
I'm not sure what I did. I didn't say anything. I just handed my passport and my
like get a load of this. Get a load of this guy.
She's like, "Are you military?" I'm like, no. And she's like, "Okay, bye," and then stamped it, and I went on my way. So,
wow.
But yeah, first time, leaving the country, obviously first time in Europe. But I had a ton of fun, man. Got to see and do a whole lot. Got to see Wiesbaden, which is where we stayed.
What is that?
It's a city in Germany. It's outside of Frankfurt. It's where my brother was staying, so we stayed there.
Ooh.
We went to Mainz, which is a neighboring city.
Mainz.
We got to see.
How they say it there?
Yeah, Mainz.
Mainz.
There was so you know how like European teams, European football teams, they have like their regular league play, and then they also have like a side tournament usually.
Yeah, they always have like tournaments going on in addition to their actual like season that they're having. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it was like the Pokal Cup, something like that. But it was the local team Mainz playing Bayern München. And so we got to see that, and it was fucking awesome. I mean, I really love the atmosphere at like a Minnesota United game.
Right.
But nothing compares to, I don't even know how many people can be in this. 10,000? I suppose I should look it up. But everyone's like drinking beer. And let me tell you, the Germans have perfected the cup, the plastic reusable cup. They've perfected it.
What does that mean? What is the perfect German cup?
It's, I wish I had a picture of it on hand. It's a plastic cup. It's reusable, but it has this handle, and the handle itself is hollow, so you can slide other cups into the handle. And so you'd see people walking around double fisting, and they'd be holding 10 beers. It was incredible.
Oh, wait. I'm trying to look this up. I literally just looked up German plastic cup. I'm not getting shit.
But the stadium was all right. The stadium's capacity is 33,000.
Jeez. Okay.
And it was filled to the brim. And I'd never heard of like the Mainz team before. Of course, everyone like who knows anything about football, Bayern München is like one of the top two teams in the German Bundesliga, and they fucking crushed Mainz. It was like 4 or 5-0. But just
what was the atmosphere like in there, man? Like, were people just chanting the whole time? I feel like they just like go fucking crazy in those like matches. Like anything in Europe, if you go to a fucking soccer game in Europe, it's just going to be off the wall. Like those people go nuts.
Yeah, it was. So we were in the standing room section only, and we were in the Mainz like fan section. And from the first minute to the 90th minute, it was the same level of energy and excitement. People are going nuts. They all had these like wild chants, and like I wanted to be part of it. Like I bought myself a scarf to like try to blend in a bit. But me and my brother and his friends like were all wearing the same scarf, so like very clearly,
Yeah. You guys just looked like a bunch of posers. American Zubat scarves.
Yeah. But you just like want to be part of it, but you cannot understand the language whatsoever. So like you kind of like try to mumble along with the chants. But yeah, I feel like, and I don't, I can only speak to this one singular sporting event I saw in Europe, but I feel like any other league in America, if your team is getting their shit pushed in, you are gone by the half, or you're gone, before
you leave
early. Before the end of the game. Yeah, you leave early.
You leave early, and it gets quiet, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing these German fans were still like chanting and shit.
Still chanting, still the exact same level of energy. I don't. Yeah. Very few people, if any, left, and it was just kind of like a nonstop party, which was awesome. That's
awesome, man. Those Germans, they don't quit. Yeah. It could have been the beer, obviously if they're walking around with 10 cups in their hands, but
and so they like. I was reading about it because this kid came by, and he like started. And I feel bad. Like I tried to speak as much German as possible, but to an extent, I'm like butchering the language, and I feel bad about that. So you'd ask if they speak English. But this boy walked up to us because we were each holding a cup or two, and he just starts speaking German. And one of the guys we're with, he's like, "English, please." And the guy's like, starts speaking more German, and this guy's name's John that we're with. He's like, "Do you want these? Do you want these cups?" Because this kid had like a stack of like 15 of them, and he's like,
"Yeah,
yes." And so we gave them to him, and I could never find out
how old was the kid.
He had to be like 12 or 13.
Okay.
But I'm assuming they have some sort of system in place because they have like Europe in general is like very focused on like sustainability and conservation efforts, but all these cups are reusable. And so I think they get something in return for like returning them, because you'd see people walking around with 20, 25 cups. And when we left the game, we had a couple extra cups and we gave them to a guy, and he was like confused and excited that we gave him like 2 or 3 cups. So I tried like, there's actually something I tried to Google. I was like, German cup reward.
German cup turning in incentive.
Yeah, like a bunch of different variations of that, and nothing really yielded the kind of results I was looking for.
That's wild. Maybe they get just another, I don't know. What are German people like? They get a free brat for every 7 cups they bring in.
Dude, the brats, I had 2 brats there. It was like, it's like a bun, but like a thick bun, like like a much larger hot dog bun, and they stuff like 2 or 3 bratwursts in those fuckers, man.
What? Wait. There's multiple brats in the, like, they give you multiple in one bun?
Yeah, exactly.
That's insane. That's so much meat.
German engineering. It's just incredible.
Yeah. You know, that's really, as soon as I saw the Volkswagen, that actually just didn't surprise me, what you just said about the bratwurst. I mean, the German people are very innovative. They can do pretty much anything. I mean, Einstein, right? Was he German?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, that's right. That's why Einstein wasn't from America. He's German. They're smart over there. They get 3 bratwursts in one bun. That's insane.
You get it, man. What else? So that was Mainz. We went to Heidelberg. Do you know Michael Fassbender, the actor?
I've heard of Michael Fassbender.
That's where he was born, in Heidelberg, Germany.
Oh,
what's he in? He was in X-Men, Inglourious Bastards, quite a few other things. Like you, if you saw him, you'd recognize him.
Yeah, this guy. Yep.
Yeah, but like that was his birthplace.
Born there.
Yeah.
Cool.
We explored that city. They have like a really old university. They have a castle.
You're a big Fassbender.
Huge Fassbender fan.
More ways than one. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the next day, we drove to München, which is about like 4.5 hours away. But before that, we went to this monastery called Andesh, something like that.
Sure.
My brother's a huge beer guy. I'm not a huge beer guy, but I still drank a ton out of respect for, Germany.
The culture, man. You got to immerse yourself, right?
But what I had learned is in older times, water obviously wasn't, purified and treated the same way it is today. So it was actually safer to drink beer.
That makes sense.
And so beer would actually be produced in monasteries. And this monastery in Andesh, they still make it out of the monastery today. A lot of those, older monasteries kind of, sold out or whatever. But this one, they still kept it local. And it was this cute little town. It's in Bavaria, which is like a very conservative state in Germany. So most of those people were German speaking strictly, like no English.
Right.
But it was like centered with a beautiful view of the Alps. I don't know if I sent you that picture. But man, it was just so...
did.
It was so... I had to keep you abreast of what I was up to. But it was just very, very beautiful and like just kind of breathtaking. We had like a great meal there. Again, I didn't really know what we were getting, and so we ordered pork knuckles. That was like
what?
They had this like awesome. Okay,
what?
I'm gonna take a step back. One of the coolest things is like how it's so like community based in Germany. Like we got there like 12 or 1 p.m. and it's like a small town, but it looked kind of empty. And then once we went into like this dining hall, it was packed, and that's because everyone was just there. They were eating together, they were drinking together, they were chatting together. But like it was like this cafeteria style, and so we got food, and we're like, I guess we'll just take the special, which was pork knuckle. It is literally like 1.5 pounds of meat, and it's like fried. So it was like fried chicken, but a giant pork knuckle, and like there's like the bone of the knuckle, and it was so much food. And like this German lady had walked by and she started speaking, and I felt bad because like I don't understand what you're saying, but she was laughing at me because we had 2 pork knuckles for 2 people, which is entirely too much food.
She's like, stupid American, 2 pork knuckles. They're all in the corner. They're just like, did you see those American with 2 pork knuckles? And they're just like fucking losing their minds. 2 pork knuckles.
Which reminds me, I'm pretty sure David and I got like cursed when we were in Heidelberg.
What?
We were
by who?
Wait,
what?
We were walking
How
up
is this just coming up now? You just got cursed? What does that mean?
We were walking up to this castle in Heidelberg, and we were stopped at like a crosswalk or an intersection or whatever. And this elderly German woman walks up to us and starts speaking like in tongues. Obviously, it's just German, but it's like so very thick. And it sounds so wicked the way she's like delivering whatever she's saying. And we're like, no, thank you. No, thank you. But like, she's not begging for money or anything. She's just, speaking whatever spells she's saying.
Dude, probably like from your perspective. Sorry, go on. Never mind.
No. I was like, oh my God, like she keeps like our backs are now turned to her. She keeps like rattling off whatever the fuck she's saying. Maybe she's just like unwell, which is probably like realistically what it was.
Could be like mental illness or something, or just like old dementia. Who knows?
Yeah, but it's like
I was gonna say maybe from your perspective, it seems like she's like cursing you or saying something really malicious, but on her end, she's just speaking in German and she's just saying like, "Oh, 2 handsome boys, looking so handsome." Oh,
if you were there, man, for her delivery and her tone, there was no way any part of that was like benevolent.
Everything in German sounds angry. She's like, and then it's just like, beautiful boys, you look so handsome. 2 pork knuckles? Are you serious? But that's wild. I didn't know you got cursed. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's why you're sick now.
That could be, and I'll get to that.
Dude, the curse worked. The curse worked. Yeah, we haven't even gotten to that point yet.
I don't. We're getting close.
Okay.
But so then after the monastery, we drove to Munich. Munich.
I don't know.
Munchen.
Sure.
Munchen.
But is that what they say there? You're
Munchen.
Confusing me.
So Munich or in Germany, it's pronounced Munchen.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. So I tried to use like the actual names of the cities as much as possible.
Right. So you don't see. It's respectful, but also like so you seem like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But so my Oma, my grandma, she was from Germany. She came over, I think in the 1950s, I want to say.
We know she met Hitler.
Yep. She met Hitler. But she's from Munchen. And so when we were there, we went to this church. I was too young to remember anything that my Oma would have said, but my brother's obviously older, so he actually had some stories, and he was telling me about this church where within the church there's like this footprint, and the footprint is said to be like the footprint of the devil, and that like the legend was if like you stepped in this, you'd lose sight, and you'd like see terrors or whatever, and so he went and saw it, and when he was talking about it, it sounded like this like kind of serious thing. But we went in there was like a tourist group, and they're all like taking selfies and like taking pictures of them stepping in this thing. So it like felt
in the circle.
It felt less sacred, and I'll send you a picture of it.
If you step in the circle, Satan will steal your eyes.
But like that's the thing is like it looks, so it's a footprint, but it looks more like the footprint of a shoe. Yeah. And you don't really picture like the devil wearing a shoe.
Yeah, what size is he? What size shoe is it?
I mean, it looked like maybe a 10.
A size 10? Pretty average then, the devil. Not a big guy, just a pretty average guy.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I feel like it should be like a hoof.
Yeah, that would make sense. Something along the lines of, traditional history. But no, this was definitely just I'm sending it to you right now, but definitely just a normal ass footprint.
All right, I gotta see it.
It's great.
Dude, that's just somebody who stepped in the cement when it was wet.
Right.
That's Satan's footprint? It's literally, is that a Converse? Are those Converse footprints?
That's what I'm saying, man.
It looks like
a regular ass shoe. It's like a very old church. I don't know how it turned out that way, but
yeah, that's wild.
We had a great night there. We drank too much beer. Got a late start the next day, but we actually drove to the Czech Republic, and we spent 2 nights in Prague, which was probably my favorite part of the trip, just because the city was so fucking beautiful and there was so much to see. And our first night there, we did this medieval dinner that I talked about, and it was great.
5 courses.
I made a mistake though, because previous night we had, or the previous day we had like the pork knuckle, and so when they came around, they're like, "Hey, we can do chicken and duck, we can do fish, we can do vegetarian, or we can do pork." Mm-hmm. And I just said pork because when I signed up for the thing, it made you answer that question, and so I said pork, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna say pork again. And my brother's like, I'm gonna do the chicken and the duck, and he's like, I'm like, okay, and he's like, so that's pork knuckle again, right? I'm like, what? And so for the second fucking day, I'm served this giant fucking heaping of meat, and they don't give you like a steak knife or anything, so I'm like trying to dig it out, which is like a fork and like a blunt butter knife. But it was still a ton of fun. It was like limitless beer and wine. It was so much. Too many
pork knuckles.
It was like I don't think
it was like limitless beer, you said?
Yeah. So the drinks were, so there was 5 courses. It started with like kind of like a plate of like turkey and like sliced duck and like some cheeses or whatever. And then it was a really good potato soup. And then it was like these little like pancakes that were filled with like spinach and garlic. Those were super good. Then it was the like mashed potatoes, the pork and whatever, and then they finished with like a cake. And when I think cake, I think like a sugary yellow cake with like chocolate frosting. It was like dry ass bread was all it was. But it was still
European
decent.
Cake. That's European cake.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what they have there. They don't have sugar like we do. They don't like diabetes, apparently. I don't
know. But yeah, it was a great show. They had people like twirling fire and bagpipes and sword fighting and whatever.
Nice.
And then after that, my brother had heard about this place called the Ice Bar.
Okay.
And it's literally, so it's like a building with like 5 different levels to it, but one of the levels is literally a bar made of ice. The counters, the chairs,
so sick.
Everything. It's made of ice.
Yeah.
And so we get there and it has like this flashing sign that says cash only.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an ATM right next to it, but it's like broken or something or like malfunctioning.
Okay. So
we waited for half an hour in full view of the bouncers. We're just standing there waiting to get our money. We finally get our money. We go up and the bouncers start frisking me, and we're about to go through, and then like this other like bouncer comes up and he like stops me, and he's like, no sporty, jeans only or better. I'm like, what? And so I'm like, I'm wearing joggers, and that was not formal enough. So after waiting for 40 minutes, we got turned away because I wore joggers.
Because you didn't have jeans on.
But like it's literally 4 levels of like nightclubs and then a bar made of ice. Like what standard are we setting?
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
You need to have jeans on. How are joggers not better than jeans? I would say that joggers fit better than jeans do. Typically,
absolutely. I look way better in joggers than I do in jeans.
Yeah, they fit better. They're cuffed at the ankle usually. They just have a better look to them. I think personally. What color joggers were they? Or were they like athletic joggers? They're black? Who cares?
Yeah, they're like more athletic black joggers. Honestly, if he hadn't seen my zippers, he wouldn't have known. That's how clean they looked.
I feel like nightclubs shouldn't have dress codes. Like, it's probably so dark in there anyways. Like, who's going to see your damn joggers,
like,
man?
You literally going to
notice?
They had a cover charge plus like a minimum beverage purchase. Like, you literally just cost yourself money.
Yeah, come on.
So we never did
poorhouse situation.
That's exactly. God, fuck the poorhouse.
Screw the ice bar.
And then day 2 in Prague, we went and saw a castle and these very old cathedrals.
My God, you did so much.
I know.
So much.
In like the town square, they have this like beautiful mechanical, like 600 or 700-year-old clock. Just really fucking awesome. My last day there, we drove back from Prague to Germany, and we stopped through Nuremberg, which was supposed to be the whatchamacallit, like the capital of the Reich.
Oh.
are you familiar with the Nuremberg trials?
I am.
Yeah, so
I've heard of them.
where we tried all the Nazis after World War II, we did it in Nuremberg.
Yeah.
To shame them, to hang them in their sacred place. But we saw this giant like Colosseum called the Congress Hall. It's unfinished because they got interrupted by a little war or something like that. And then we went to the Zeppelin field, which it was like the site of a bunch of Nazi party rallies.
That's where Led Zeppelin was created.
It is where Led Zeppelin was created. And I'm going to send you a picture. And I can now say that I have stood exactly where Hitler once stood.
Wow.
Pretty.
He stood right there.
I'm not going to say. Yeah. Because that's where he'd address the crowds.
This is just about as wild of a photo as the footprint.
Like in that, it's like
I stood where Hitler once stood. It's just you on top of 4 stairs by the look of the picture.
You could literally see like a soccer stadium in the background because like they've converted most of the area, but like a large portion of like the seating is like still intact.
I'm sure in its day it was very authoritarian and very scary looking, to be standing up on those steps. But in this picture, you look very German in here, by the way. You look European as hell.
That's what I was saying. Like I felt pretty European. I mean, I looked a lot like other people. But to wrap up my European story, we went back to Wiesbaden, had dinner. The next morning, I got up entirely too early for the flight. We kind of miscalculated, and so I arrived about 50 minutes before they even opened security. And then I got on the plane, and about an hour after I was on the plane, I started feeling nauseous, and I started burping like every minute, which is really frustrating.
That's awful.
Because sometimes, when you burp and you burp the wrong way and you kind of like cough up vomit, that would happen every so often. And so I'm just kind of like sitting there. It's a 9.5-hour flight. I ate breakfast. That didn't help. I went to the bathroom like 3 or 4 times. That didn't help. And so,
man,
I'm like texting Emily the whole time, and I'm like, I can't fucking do this. Like, I'm miserable. I have nothing. There's nothing I can do that can help me.
I'm going to jump out of the plane. I'm going to jump out.
And like with their Wi-Fi, I can only text people. I can't look stuff up. So I'm like texting Emily. I'm like, can you Google like, how do I fix this? How do I get rid of this? And then so we finally land. I don't feel any better. I purchased some like stomach meds. Those don't help. I'm texting Emily again. I'm like, I cannot get on this plane from Chicago to Minneapolis. Like I can't do this. I can't do it again because at least the plane from Germany, much bigger. I had no one in my aisle.
Yeah.
Like I had some breathing room, but in any like domestic flight, you're fucking packed like sardines. And we were. And I finally get home feeling okay. After we landed, we got the call that the apartment we applied for got approved, which feels fucking awesome. And then I get home, I feel okay for about 30 minutes, then I getting really tired. I fall asleep for like 3 hours. Wake up. My mom and Emily are like looking me over, insisting I have to go to the ER. I'm like fucking tired and I don't want to do it. I don't want to spend money. So I'm like fighting with them for like 15 minutes. Finally, we go. We wait at the ER for like 2 hours before I get triaged. I get triaged another hour and a half later. They finally take me in, do a CT scan. My appendix is fine. They pump me full of IV fluids and pain medication and nausea medication, because at this point I probably shit myself 15 times.
You shit your pants? You shit your pants 15 times?
15 times.
Wait, did you did you literally shit your pants?
No,
15 times?
I had diarrhea like 15 times.
But like one or two of those was in your pants. Though,
none of those were in my pants. Thank you.
0 in the pants. Okay.
0 in the pants. But I finally got home about 2 a.m. So this saga started probably about 9 a.m. local Germany time.
Yeah.
And then ended 2 a.m. Central.
Jeez.
So it was...
What a journey.
I mean, yeah. But now I'm back. I still feel like dog shit.
Woo!
But that was my European story. But I want to share one final thing.
Yes.
That blew my mind because I didn't know anything about it. So I was talking with my brother about our family history, and my great-grandfather, Joseph, lived in Munich, and we were actually going to go try to see his house that was listed on Ancestry.com, but we didn't get a chance to. But he's telling me about how, so he fought in World War I. He's a native-born German. You can't really blame him for that. But when it came time to fight in World War II, he said no.
Ooh.
And they castrated him.
What?
Yeah, man.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's awful.
That is awful.
What? Holy crap. That's horrible. What they were doing that to people who didn't want to fight in the war? They would just castrate you?
I guess so. I didn't know,
that's
but
nuts.
I think that's how
nuts.
I think that's how it went back then.
Hey, that's nuts. Do you get it?
Okay.
That's nuts.
I was wondering why does this guy keep saying the same thing over and over again?
Man, that's nuts, dude. Wow, that's crazy. Wow. Yeah. What a time. They would just cut your balls off if you didn't want to fight in the war.
Yeah.
Jeez. Tough life.
I'd have no balls. There's no way you could get me to fight a war.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, okay, so if you had to choose between fighting in a war and having zero testicles, having no testicles left, would you pick the war or the testicles?
Testicles, man. I don't think I can kill anything.
I can't either. But like, I guess it depends what I'm doing in the war. But if I'm like front lines, like I'm not tough enough. I can't do it, you know. So I would say goodbye to my two men downstairs if I had to make that choice. That's crazy. What a story. What a journey you went on. And now you're back and you're sick. Which, if you haven't figured it out yet, to anybody listening to this, we are remote today. We are not together. But
it hurts my heart, man, because I have gifts for you.
You do? You got me gifts?
Yeah, what? I got you gifts.
Who told you to get me gifts?
I just out of kindness on my heart. There's no way I'm going to go somewhere and not get you some gifts.
That's so sweet.
I got you a gift, and I got the future little lad a gift.
Oh, you did?
But I'll give those. I'll give those to you next week because I will have to be 100%. Sure. So look forward to that.
We want you at 100%. No shit in your pants at all. Zero pork knuckles. Zero pork knuckles. That's probably what did it to you. Is the pork knuckle? You know?
No, we actually know what caused it.
Oh, you do?
The last dinner I had there, we went to this place where I got some Wiener Schnitzel, which is really good.
Wiener Schnitzel.
But my brother was texting me today that his buddy who ate with us, who also got the Wiener Schnitzel, is also shitting himself today. So
if you ever go to Germany, don't get the Wiener Schnitzel. You know, don't get the Wiener Schnitzel.
Do get it. Just that particular pork just happened to have some E. coli, which is, you know, it's all right.
Yeah, that's tough. But you're alive and you're here to talk about it.
That's true. How was your week? Did you do anything cool?
Oh man, what did I do that was cool? So there's a couple things that happened to me. One's a really quick story, which will lead into the next thing that I did this week. So this was was this yesterday, day before? I don't remember. Earlier this week. I was out running errands, right? And I had to go to Home Depot. And I'll tell you in a second why I was going to Home Depot. But I stopped before then, wanted to get like some protein powder or some shit, whatever. I'm in this parking lot. And I get out of my car and I see this guy who's walking in the parking lot. And he's an older man. He doesn't look particularly, you know, in any type of way, just an average old guy. And then I get out of my car and we make eye contact. And it's that certain type of eye contact where, you know, like, shit, this guy's going to say something to me. And he looks at me and he says, and I'm going to quote him. Okay. I don't condone what he said, but what he said is, and I quote, "All this pussy and these young men aren't getting any of it." And then he laughed a little bit and then walked into Jersey Mike's Subs. It was all he said to me. We made eye contact. He said that phrase, and then he walked into Jersey Mike's. I was like, what the absolute hell was that? And
what the fuck? Dude, he don't know you get pussy. That's crazy.
Dude. Yeah, I don't know if he was talking about me. I was thinking in my head, maybe he just like came from talking to one of his grandsons about how like he was having some girl trouble or something, or he wasn't, I don't know. And then, he's just thinking to himself this whole time on his drive over to Jersey Mike's, like, man, these young men ain't getting pussy. And then he had to like verbalize it to me in the parking lot, which,
no, man, he was talking about you.
He may have been talking about me, but I don't know what about me would have indicated that. I'm married. I was going to get protein powder. That's a pretty manly thing to do.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I can't believe it, but that was the oddest thing that happened to me this week. I couldn't believe that occurred, and that man felt the need to say that to a total stranger, by the way. Like, that's just off. That's wild. Old people are wild, but I guess once you get to a certain age, you just don't give a shit anymore, and you just kind of go for it,
Yeah.
But anyways, so why was I out running errands? So I had to get a new toilet. So what happened to me, and this is going to cover my search history.
Wait. Upstairs or downstairs?
The main floor.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah. This is going to cover my search history, by the way, too, because so my toilet was leaking, so I had to search toilet leaking from tank. It was leaking from the tank, so I tried to fix it. The main two issues that you usually have when your toilet is leaking from the tank or from the back part, right? Your backboard of your toilet, for you sport fanatics out there, the backboard. So usually it's going to be your flush valve system or your fill valve. So before I even considered getting a new toilet, I spent like a good day or two trying to fix this thing, thinking if I replaced one or both of the valves that it would fix the problem. So I spent probably 4 hours this past weekend working on my toilet, and I successfully replaced both valves, because I can't remember why. I think one of them, whatever. I just ended up replacing both, thinking this will just fix the problem, whatever. So I replaced both of them after like 4 hours of work, because I'm not a plumber. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But I figured it out, and then it was still leaking. So I had my father-in-law come over, take a look at it. Like, what did I do? Why is this still leaking? And he couldn't figure it out. So after much deliberation and a few tweaks that were completely unsuccessful, we decided to just purchase a new toilet. So I had to run out to Home Depot, get myself a new toilet, and we'll be getting that thing put in very soon. So that was my week. It was pretty crazy.
It's pretty.
It is not. It's not fun to have toilet problems. Also, my wife is pregnant. We only have 2 bathrooms. We have one on the main floor, one in the basement. So now, she has to choose between just peeing in the main floor and manually flushing it by just like throwing water down there, or she has to walk all the way downstairs with her pregnant ass, and that's a big ordeal. So yeah, hell of a week. But yeah, that was both my week and my search history, trying to knock them both out in one. Is there anything you searched while in Germany?
Not necessarily while in Germany, but I've been searching how to stop diarrhea, but nothing's really.
How do you stop it? How do you stop it? I'm asking for someone else.
I think in my particular case, I think I have to let it run its course so I can purge the infection.
I would imagine, in your case, it's some sort of something's going on in there. It needs to flush out.
That was. Are you a doctor?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah,
it's my opinion that something's going on in there.
Yeah, something's got to be going on in there.
All right, hit me with that question of the day.
Yeah. I know we're kind of speeding this episode along, but we had to hear all about Germany, and I'm glad we did. My question of the day is, what job, if you could pick any job, would be the one that you would least want to do?
The
Which
job I
job?
would least
Yeah.
want.
What job would you want the least? Or what are the shittiest jobs?
I feel like a middle school teacher's got to be one of the worst jobs.
A middle school teacher? I don't know.
Yeah, man.
I feel like teacher is like on my list of jobs that I would do.
I think I would be. I mean, elementary kids, they're like still cute. High school kids, like you can start like speaking to them like people.
Right.
But like at least in my.
But middle school kids are ugly and smelly, and they're still
and like
stupid.
just like rude, you know? They're just fucking.
That's true. That's true. Have you ever ran into a group of 8th grade boys? It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, nothing like stings self-confidence more than being torn down by some prepubescent kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you might be right, because I don't think I've ever been bullied more than I have been by my my wife's like 11-year-old cousin or whatever. Fucking demon of a person. But I'm just kidding. He's a great kid and I love him. Yeah, I was thinking there's a few jobs that I had listed. One, I thought it would be awful to be a bartender at a college bar, like in a college town. Like, I'm not talking like Minneapolis where a lot of college kids go there. I'm talking like you're in the college town, like Eau Claire, where you're like at the bar, and this is like only college kids come through here, and you're at the bar, you're the bartender. Because I feel like one of the positives of being a bartender is good tips, but college students are poor and they cannot give you that, especially when drinks are so damn cheap at these bars. You have to deal with just so much shenanigans from all these college kids. I can't even imagine. I mean, that would be absolutely horrible.
Yeah, and most of those bartenders, at least in Eau Claire, like they look annoyed for you to be ordering, you know?
Yeah.
It's because they're blaring music. They're yelling at you to try to hear, you know, whatever you're trying to order.
Yeah.
So I get it. Yeah, I don't think I would enjoy that very much. I'd much rather be a bartender of like a quieter, you know, classier bar.
Right. Like being a bartender in general would be sick, but specifically that situation, like I don't want to get Frat Chad his 6th whiskey sour. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to do that. Another one that would suck would be a therapist.
You think so?
I think so.
I think it'd be very taxing mentally and emotionally.
Exactly. Like I feel like it might start okay. Like you feel like, and it might even be more fulfilling, right? Like you're actually doing something, you're trying to help people. But like, man, I don't think I have the mental strength to do something like that. That would be so tough on the brain, listening to people talk all the time. I can't even imagine what it's like to listen to people talk all the time. I mean, the people listening to this probably know what I'm talking about. Yeah, therapists would be tough, man. Also, like, I feel like, is there a point like for therapists where they're like, man, this guy's still coming back here and he has not made any progress. My God. He keeps talking about the same trauma over and over again. Like, get over it, buddy. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I feel like, wouldn't it be exhausting? Like if your patients aren't seemingly making progress and they just keep coming back to the same issues. I mean, I know in my personal therapy sessions, I get exhausted talking about my same issues over and over again. I can only imagine what my therapist feels like on his point of view. But
I would like to think that people who go into, you know, therapy and psychiatry are just built different in that
true
they do have the skills necessary to, you know, deal with that day to day. I know I couldn't. There's a long time I wanted to be a therapist, but thinking back, like it probably would have been a horrible life decision.
I don't know. I could see you being one, you know.
I don't know, man. Like I get really attached to like a frog on the ground.
Take it home with you.
Yeah, 100%.
Your work home. Yeah, I get that. I could see that. It's just because you care so much, buddy. You're just such a sweet guy. You're the type of friend who goes to Germany and brings back gifts without anybody even asking for them.
It's true. I'm pretty awesome.
Give me another job that you wouldn't want to do. Or I'll give you 2 to choose from, and you tell me which one's worse.
Do it.
Okay. Would you rather be a cemetery groundskeeper or work for pest control?
I'd rather be a cemetery groundskeeper. I was actually something cemetery related came up.
Really?
But I fucking hate bugs, man. We have an ant problem right now, and it's awful.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's not like sugar ants. They're full on giant fucking carpenter ants, and so there's like jarring when you see them. I was literally just laying down, and one crawled on my nightstand right next to my phone, and but physically jumped out.
Wouldn't it be so almost satisfying that you're on the other end? You've got the weapon to kill them. You know what I mean? Like you're going in there to get rid of them.
Yeah, but a lot of pests, their nest isn't in your closet. It's like in your foundation. Yeah. It's like in gross places where you don't want to be crawling.
Yeah, you're right.
And
you're right. Cemetery groundskeeper.
Yeah, because that really, what are you doing?
You're probably mowing the grass and just hanging out in the cemetery. I just don't want to hang out in a cemetery.
Along the lines of death, I would not want to be a mortician or a mortician that's like the funeral home director, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to stuff people.
Yeah, that would I could not work with dead people. Nuh-uh. Not for me. No. If anybody does that out there, Godspeed to you. That's someone's got to do it, right? Ultimately, someone's got to do all these jobs, right? So good for any mortician out there. You're doing God's work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Another one I thought of was working in a slaughterhouse, killing animals or some shit.
Yeah, butcher shops in general, or grocer, more factory style, meat houses, or a lot of blood, a lot of sadness and meat,
a lot of guts. Yeah, a lot of sadness.
I'm the first to admit that I cannot see how the sausage is made. I love meat, but the thought of a cow dying makes me very sad.
If I had to work with that stuff, actually seeing how you're killing the animals or working with the meat like that, there's no question I would probably eventually go vegetarian. I don't know, man. I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
It seems too crazy.
When you see videos of baby chickens going into a grinder, it kind of.
Once you see the pork knuckle being made, you cannot eat the pork knuckle again.
It's true. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to bring some pork knuckles onto the next episode.
Okay. I would love to have some pork knuckles.
I don't think you would. It does not look like something that you would enjoy eating.
I don't normally eat pork that much, but I'll do it. I'll do it for you.
Okay, I'll see if I can source some.
All right. Do you have any bizarre news for me?
I do. It's going to be rather short, but I wanted to talk about it before we call it a day. So I don't know if you saw this, but people are concerned because in Boston, specifically, Massachusetts, there was a proposal to allow prisoners to donate their organs and donate their bone marrow so that they can shave time off of their sentences.
I did see that. That's crazy.
Isn't that incredibly fucked up?
Yes. So wait. So they are able to donate their organs to shave off time off their sentence. That's just wild, dude. What?
Here's the best part of it.
Yeah.
If you donated bone marrow or you donated an organ, you would receive a reduction in your sentence between 60 days and a year.
That's it? What?
That's it.
What? Yo, I give a kidney and I only get a kidney's actually only worth 4 months and 2 days. I'm so sorry.
Isn't that insane? You're born with one of these organs, sometimes two of them, and and that's only worth a year.
That's
Whereas
not
like
worth
on
it,
the
dude.
black market or something like that, like a kidney would be like $300,000-$400,000.
Yeah.
It's just obscene. It's
That's
like
great.
Frankly just gross, like who came up with this? Who thinks that it's a-okay to have people like literally sell parts of their bodies, especially when you consider that like the prison system is as fucked as it already is.
Right.
Justice system in general.
How did that even end up happening, dude? Like what? Like how did
I don't know. Like
how do we get to that point?
Who's like, what's a good idea?
Yeah.
It was probably some dumbass who's like, I see two problems. People are in prison too long and people need organs.
Yeah. Well, if the prisoners give organs, the people who need organs will live, and then the prisoners won't live as long because they only have one kidney left.
You're right.
Dumbass gave us one of his lungs.
Yeah, I just
told me he only needed one.
So I guess their justification is that there's thousands of people in Massachusetts that need an organ plant.
Sure.
And there's also a lot of prisoners. So,
I mean, I guess. At the end of the day, it's the prisoners who are. They're not forcing these prisoners to do anything, right? They give them the option, right? And then the prisoners can choose to shave a year off their sentence and donate a kidney.
Yeah.
So
I just like, it's not legal to sell a kidney.
Right.
So I don't think that you should barter it for, a small fraction of your time off. But that's just me.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty crazy, man. This world we live in, dude. I don't know. We're donating organs to shave off prison sentences. We're eating 2 pork knuckles instead of 1.
All right. Do you got any closing thoughts?
We're standing where Hitler used to stand. Closing thoughts, guys. If you're ever in Germany, don't get the Wiener Schnitzel. It'll make you shit your pants 15 times. Just some words of advice for you. Also, if you are in Germany, God bless you. I know we have listeners out there. I'm sure we do. I know we do. And guten Tag. That's all I got.